大家好，欢迎来到我的频道，我叫台斯, and in this video I'm going to share with you some resources that I've been using to learn Chinese as someone who's been learning for about 7 years now. The first one is language learning apps. Now, I'm not a huge fan of language learning apps, but Pleco is an exception. So this app is basically a dictionary app, but it has so many different functions to look up new words. What I love about this app is if you come across a character that you don't recognize, you can easily write it in the box there, and it'll give you the meaning, different words that it appears in, and a lot of example sentences too. The next resource I want to recommend is for improving your conversational skills in Mandarin. Now, I know a lot of you, depending on what stage you're up to in your Chinese learning journey, you might not feel totally confident with just interacting with strangers in Mandarin. And I know it can be daunting, but this is one of the main things that truly improves your Chinese. So try going to a Chinese restaurant and ordering food in Chinese, or find a language exchange group to regularly practice your Mandarin. The website called Meetup actually is very useful for finding such language exchange groups. There are also many sites where you can practice your Mandarin online with a native speaker. Personally, I use italki, as you can find a tutor that's just right for you, and the lessons are really cheap as well. Plus, if you purchase a lesson using the link in the description below, you will receive $10 USD in italki credits. The next thing I want to talk about is grammar. Now, for the most part, Chinese grammar can be quite simple, but when you do get to those higher levels, some things can be really confusing. So I found these websites called Purple Culture and Chinese Grammar Wiki to be really helpful with consolidating things that I'm struggling with. The website Purple Culture shows you a lot of different example sentences and also shows you how to write the characters, whereas Chinese Grammar Wiki actually goes into a more in-depth explanation of the logic behind Chinese grammar. Podcasts are also a really great resource to use to improve your listening of Chinese, and personally I just like to put one on when I'm driving or folding washing or cleaning dishes, and it's something that just goes on in the background and I don't really have to put in so much energy to practice this, but it's really helpful for practicing your listening skills and just understanding the ways that Chinese people express themselves and the kind of language and sentence structures that they use. Personally, I listen to the podcast called 大叔中文 or 大叔 Mandarin Podcast, and it's really funny. There's 3 uncles that sit around and talk about random topics such as relationships, your fears, practically anything. So it's very relatable and you can pick up a lot of new words. There are also a lot of segments where they invite Mandarin learners to come on the program and share their story of how they learned Chinese and the different methods they use. So it can be really inspiring. You can find the links for all of these resources in the description below, and I really hope that these can be of use to you in your language learning journey. 下次再见.